Have you ever received a simple message like, "Okay," and somehow, without any explanation, your brain immediately assumed something was wrong? Something felt cold, distant, or even slightly hostile, even though the word itself was completely neutral?
And what's even more fascinating is that within milliseconds, before you consciously read or analyze the text, your brain had already decided how to feel about it, almost as if it heard a tone that wasn't even there.
Today, we're going to uncover why your brain decodes emotional tone before it processes the actual words, how this affects your relationships, and why most misunderstandings in modern communication are not about what was said, but how your brain imagined it was said.
And by the end of this video, you will start noticing how often your mind fills in emotional gaps that were never actually there.
Because once you start noticing how your brain adds meaning where none exists, you'll never read messages the same way again.
So subscribe to Mind Science Simplified and let's decode your mind, one insight at a time. Long before texting existed, human survival depended on reading tone, facial expressions, and subtle emotional cues, because understanding whether someone was friendly or threatening could mean the difference between safety and danger.
So your brain evolved to prioritize tone over words, which means that even today, in a world of text messages and emails, your brain is still running ancient software designed for face-to-face interaction.
This is why when tone is missing, your brain doesn't stay neutral. Instead, it fills in the blanks using past experiences, emotional memory, and sometimes even your current mood.
Which means that the message you receive is not just the text someone sent, but a version of it that your brain has emotionally edited. What makes this even more fascinating is the speed at which this happens, because your brain processes emotional cues faster than logical language, meaning that by the time you consciously read a message, your emotional reaction has already begun.
This is why you can feel offended, ignored, or even rejected before you have had the chance to logically analyze what was actually written.
In neuroscience, this is often linked to how the emotional centers of the brain, particularly those responsible for threat detection, activate faster than the areas responsible for reasoning and language.
So in simple terms, your brain asks, "How do I feel about this?" before it asks, "What does this mean?" Now here's where things start to break down, because text strips away tone, facial expressions, pauses, and emphasis, leaving your brain with incomplete information.
And instead of waiting for clarity, your brain does something incredibly risky. It guesses.
If you're already feeling insecure, your brain might interpret a short reply as disinterest, while someone feeling confident might see the exact same message as perfectly normal.
Which means that the same text can create completely different emotional realities, depending on who is reading it. Interestingly, when your brain has to guess tone, it often leans toward negative interpretations, because from an evolutionary perspective, it was safer to assume danger than to overlook it.
So a neutral message like, "We need to talk," can instantly trigger anxiety, even though it could mean something completely harmless.
This negativity bias explains why digital communication often feels more emotionally intense than it actually is.
When tone is missing and assumptions take over, small messages can lead to big misunderstandings, unnecessary arguments, and emotional distance between people.
And the most surprising part is that both people might be reacting to completely different emotional versions of the same message.
This is why many conflicts today are not caused by intention, but by interpretation.
The solution is not to stop texting, but to become aware of how your brain is interpreting messages, and to slow down before reacting emotionally.
Simple changes like adding clarity, using voice notes, or even just asking, "Hey, what did you mean by that?" can prevent a huge number of misunderstandings.
Because once you realize that your brain is not just reading messages, but emotionally rewriting them. You gain the ability to respond more consciously instead of reacting automatically.
So the next time a message feels off, take a moment and ask yourself, is this what was actually said? Or is this what my brain imagined?
Because sometimes, the biggest misunderstanding isn't in the message. It's in the tone your mind created.
If you found this insight useful, subscribe to Mind Science Simplified for more videos that help you understand how your mind really works.
And share this with someone who has ever misunderstood a simple text, because chances are, we all have.